If you want some FIFA 23 coins, please check out MMOXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're fast, cheap and reliable, and if you use code Rema, you can get yourself a 5% discount. Okay, so what's going on, guys? My name's Ash and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about the current state of FIFA 23 and where I think EA are going wrong. Now listen, this is not a hate video in any way. I'm actually really enjoying FIFA 23 as a whole because I think in terms of gameplay, it's still one of the best we've had in the past few years, and I think content as a whole again has been pretty good. I think the overall vibe in FIFA 23 has been decent. I have been enjoying myself. But with that being said, there is still a lot wrong with FIFA 23, which is really hindering the experience I'm having in FIFA 23, and I know it's bothering a lot of you guys as well. So we're going to break this video down into separate chapters so we can talk about things in a structured way. So we're going to be talking about the gameplay, we're going to be talking about the content, we're going to be talking about the gameplay game modes, and then we're going to talk about some general other things. So starting off with the gameplay, I've always had like a mixed reception to this in FIFA 23. At the start of the very start of the game, I was like, oh dear, this is bad. And then they patched it to make dribbling slightly better and make passing a little bit better, and I was like, okay, this is good, especially with like the length to accelerate. And then they changed explosive and control players, and now I'm very mixed. I'm like, I like it, but at the same time I don't. So my problem with FIFA 23 gameplay comes from things being overpowered. So we've got these over the top through balls that are extremely broken, and with the new explosive and control players being very good and very quick compared to what they were, it's created this even more park the bus meta where people just sit back and counter attack because those over the top through balls are very good. This was obviously present when lengthy was the meta, and lengthy's still decent, but because they've done it for every player now where every player's quick, it's made this meta even more dominant in the game. It's very easy to do, and people are trying to avoid it by sitting back deeper as well, so it's just a constant counter-attacking game. And something needs to be done about this because it's just not a fun experience for the most part, you know? Something shouldn't be that broken that your whole game plan revolves around it, if you get what I'm saying. It's not fun to have to spend 5 minutes trying to break down a low block defense just to get counter-attacked with one over the top through ball, you know? These things need to be addressed and they need to be fixed because it's just too overpowered and it makes the game unfun. Unfun, not fun. Oh, you get what I'm saying. And even more annoying than these over the top through balls that dominate FIFA 23, we've got the pressure tactics which just have to go. There's no two ways about it. They've got to go. People shouldn't be able to stand a chance in a game just from pressing the D-pad a couple of times, because the problem with pressure tactics is the player doesn't actually have to do anything. It's all the game. And the main issue I have with it is every player gets marked and there is no way to counter this, not consistently. I genuinely think I'd be a bit more lenient towards pressure tactics as a whole if the attacking AI on the person that was being affected was a lot better, you know, so they weren't constantly marked, they moved around to break the press, so you actually had some passing options to actually get through the press. But with the way it is at the moment, when you play against it, you pretty much already give up. Well, I can't speak for everyone, but when I come up against pressure tactics, let's say I go 2 goals up, I'm already preparing for the worst as if I could go 3-2 down. Like, that's how bad it is when you play against it. You literally cannot do anything. You're sat there praying. So I think although FIFA 23 gameplay as a whole isn't terrible, like the actual core mechanics I think are okay. I think attacking AI is a lot better than it was before. I think passing is genuinely decent, apart from sometimes passes being underpowered, but for the most part I think they're okay. I think crossing's pretty balanced, I think heading's pretty balanced, I think finishing's as good as it's ever been, you know, I think that's pretty cool, like the fact that you can do multiple different shots. Obviously I think finesse shots inside the box need to be a bit better, but as a whole I think the actual core mechanics of the game are pretty decent, you know, even defending I think that's a lot better than it used to be. But the problem is the overall experience of the actual gameplay is overshadowed by these broken mechanics that just need to be fixed, you know, like the pressure tactics and the over the top through balls, and on top of that the inconsistent gameplay. Now I'm not going to keep talking about this for the whole video because everybody knows how bad this is at this point, and it happens every single year. I think I've had it since about FIFA 11, so it's not a new thing at all, but like you shouldn't be preparing to be playing a different game every time you load it up, like sometimes it being quick, other times it being slow, sometimes your players do weighted passes, other times they're nice quick sharp passes, you know. It's just not good for the game's overall health, and it's honestly really frustrating. I can't believe this is still a thing. This is by far the most annoying thing about the game for me, because despite all of these broken mechanics like the pressure tactics, the over the top through balls and whatever, I promise you when the gameplay is okay, if you try playing in the early hours of the morning and the gameplay is good, it's nowhere near as unbearable to play against. It's still not great, but honestly it is 10 times better, and the gameplay is just more fun as a whole. Now, moving on from the gameplay problems, these go hand in hand with the game mode choices in FIFA 23. I promise you people would not be that bothered about the gameplay mechanics if there was a better game mode balance in FIFA. Because people using meta things in FIFA is not a new thing since FUT Champs has been out, you know. It's happened every single year FIFA's been online. The difference between the newer FIFAs and the older FIFAs is there was no like strict matchmaking policies all the time. You were playing very open matchmaking a lot of the time, so you could play against somebody that was good or somebody that was bad, so you know there was a nice balance. If you looked at pro level gameplay from those older games, there was still a meta that people were using, you just weren't coming up against it every game. My problem with the game modes in FIFA 23 is that they are pretty much all competitive, and the ones that aren't, you either have to pay to play or they're offline. I've spoken about this a few times, but the main game mode in FIFA 23 is Division Rivals, which I think is probably the greatest competitive mode EA could have come up with. I won't lie, the actual concept of Division Rivals is amazing, but this shouldn't be the main game mode for everybody to play, because, you know, not everyone wants to be competitive and not everyone wants to sweat all the time. People want to play a game to chill out, you know. Now the thing with Division Rivals is I really wouldn't mind it as much if I had something else to play once I've got my 8 wins, because the problem with the game modes in FIFA 23 is you get to the Elite Division or whatever, you get your 8 wins in Rivals, and let's say you've done your Champs games, what else do you actually do? Oh, and if somebody says friendlies, I'm literally going to slap you. You know, the main problem with Rivals and Champs is, well, Champs is definitely just a terrible game mode. I've been very vocal about how I don't really like this game mode. Division Rivals is a cool game mode, but there's just nothing else, you know. You have to use all your meta teams in these two like competitions because that's what everybody's doing. Everybody cares about winning all the time. So when you do get these rewards and you get all these different players, you've got nowhere to use these players, you know. You're limited in what you can do, what you can use, and it just gets boring, man. I don't want to have to use my meta players all the time, you know. Sometimes I just want to chill out and use some other players. Now I know people like Inception are very passionate about this topic, and with very good reason, because the points he makes about this kind of thing is just so true, you know. Something as simple as a tournament mode with more open matchmaking would just make this game infinitely more enjoyable, like just like that, because it's just honestly so true, you know. Like let's say you get all these rewards from Rivals and Champs, you pack all these players in tradable, let's say you pack like a promo card that's not full meta, you know, nobody's ever going to use that card in Rivals or Champs because they're not meta enough, you know. People care about winning, they're not going to use a card that's going to hold them back. It's as simple as that. If there was a mode like a tournament mode, people would get to use these cards in a more relaxed environment, and that would be fun because people get to try out different teams, use different cards, and still get a reward at the end of it. That's just fun, you know. If you have a tournament mode where you can relax with different teams, like with Division Rivals and FUT Champs, if they insist on keeping that, that's great. That's a balance. What we have right now is not a balance. And I'm going to be honest, EA fumbled it so hard with the World Cup mode in FIFA 23. Well, we didn't actually get a World Cup mode in Ultimate Team. That's the problem, you know. Why couldn't they just add a tournament, like a 4-round tournament, you know, similar to like Draft, for example, where you can use different players in a relaxed matchmaking style for a reward at the end, you know? Why didn't they do that? Like, why is it that hard to do something like that? We're literally in a World Cup, right? This happens once every 4 years, and you're not even going to let people in Ultimate Team play this tournament, you know? I don't get it. Now, I sometimes get asked if I'm going to stream FIFA 23, and I've streamed a couple of times for FUT Champions, but honestly, guys, it's just so draining to stream this game, and it's just not something I'm willing to put myself through, because it's just not like an enjoyable game to do that, you know? It's not a game that you can stream for hours on end a day, because I streamed Foot Champs for a couple of weekends, right? And although it's not that bad, like Foot Champs is pretty casual compared to like Rivals nowadays, it was just so draining because on top of like this game like being full of meta people that just want to win all the time, which does take a lot out of you, you also get people in the chat which call you bad, or they just try and wind you up, and after a while it does get to you a little bit, right? You know, it's just not a fun experience to stream that all the time. If we had like a relaxed game mode to do something like that, I would honestly be more than happy to stream this game because it wouldn't be as draining on me mentally, you know? I would actually enjoy streaming this game to viewers. I would have a good time doing that, but with every game mode being hyper competitive and it being so important that you get results, I'm just not willing to do that at the moment. So yeah, the lack of game mode balance in FIFA 23 does ruin the game a lot for me because it just makes it too competitive, not very enjoyable, and very limited in what you can do and what you can use. Now it's time to move on to the content side of FIFA 23, and I'm gonna be honest, as a whole I think it's been pretty good. You know, the amount of promos we've had's been nice, the promo players we've had have been cool, some of the SBCs we've had have been sick, we've had like nice hero packs, icon packs, really good player picks, we've had upgrade packs, you know, like 81 plus double upgrades, 85 plus double upgrades. This is all great, honestly, it's amazing, I'm happy we've got that. But EA missed the real key to making this content good, and although they've got all of these SBCs and that, there's just no real way to complete all of the content in the game without spending money. And obviously there are things you can get in the game without spending money, like the 84 times 20 times 3 or whatever for getting swaps tokens. You can get your rewards every week, that's pretty cool, but it's also very limited, you know, the amount of stuff they release, you know, you just can't complete it all without spending money or being incredibly good at trading and dedicating most of your day to it. Because even today EA released like a normal hero or World Cup hero player pack which you can do 3 times. They've released all these double upgrades, they've released player SBCs, and honestly it's all great, but I'm just sat here thinking I can't do this, you know, like it's cool content but I can't do it. And this is something that is really annoying because it actually has a very easy fix. If we look at the content that EA have released, we've got a 78 plus player pick which requires a squad of non-rare golds. You've got an 81 plus double upgrade which requires 11 rare golds. So let's say you do 11 player picks, you can then do a double upgrade in which you could then do like an 85 plus double upgrade after a while, and then you could do the hero packs or the you know, icon packs or whatever you want to do with the high rated fodder. The problem is there is no start for you to do any of this unless you get some packs that are very limited, like I said, from rewards, swap tokens, or whatever, from objectives. There is genuinely an easy fix for this content problem, because in order to do pretty much every SBC, it would take you a long time. EA just need a way for people to get a lot of gold commons over time, you know. Let's say you win a game, you get a 3 common gold players pack that's untradeable. You know, after like 3 or 4 games, you can put them into a player pick, and then you can start with 81 plus double upgrades after a while. It's a slow process, but it's a way to actually get these cards so you can grind the content in the game. They could also release their league SBCs for the people that like sitting in the menus a lot of the time. There needs to be a balance, and there needs to be a way to actually grind this content without spending money, because it isolates a lot of the player base, me included, because I don't spend money on this game, right? And I'm just sat there looking at these SBCs thinking I can't do any of this, and I'd love to be able to do it. You guys tell me in the comments, would you be happy to sit there and play more games of FIFA if EA would give you even crappy gold common packs after every game that you could then put into the content to grind it? So, you know, like then you could put them into 78 plus player picks, into 81 plus double upgrades, into the higher rated double upgrades, into the you know, like icon packs. Like, would you guys be happy with that? Because if there was a way for me to actually grind through all of the content in the SBC section just from playing some games and maybe doing some league SBCs if I'm watching some football or something, it'd be great. There'd be such an awesome balance in FIFA, you know? If you want to play some games, you know, you're still getting something that will benefit, you know, you on the content side. So if I play a couple of games, you know, like when I'm chilling, I could get like 6 common gold players just from playing a couple of games. I could then sit there, do some league SBCs to get some more gold commons. diamonds or some gold rares. I could put those into like these smaller, lower rated upgrade packs, in which I could then do, you know, like higher rated icon packs or player SBCs over time. You know, it would just like make the game more fun to grind, because there would actually be a way to do it. Right now they've got all this great content, but it feels like it's locked behind a paywall, and that's because it is. But yeah, I just wanted to give my opinion on FIFA 23 at the moment, because it's something I have very mixed opinions on. Like, I'm enjoying myself, but I'm not at the same time, you know? Like, when it comes around to like FUT Champs playoffs and weekend league time, you know, I find myself being a bit interested because I've got things to do. And FUT Champs, I'll be honest with you, it's kind of more enjoyable than it used to be now. So I actually don't mind playing that all the time. And then, you know, you get your 8 rival wins, and that's great. And then the moment you've done that, you're like, what do I do now? You know, like, there's all this content in the SBC section. Can I do this? You're like, oh no, because there's no way for me to actually get, you know, players to do this. So it's like, I don't know, I just get bored after a while. It would just be nice to be able to grind this game a lot more than you can at the moment. But yeah, I'm interested to hear if you guys agree with me, or, you know, I'm interested to hear your opinions on FIFA 23, because it's something that people have differing opinions on. So it'd be nice to hear what you guys have to say regarding this game. But yeah, that's everything for the video, guys. If you have enjoyed it, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, so you never miss out on any videos like this one. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you all later. Peace.